Rev up your engines. Gentleman just bought this a couple days ago, obviously at CarMax. And I always say you're gonna overpay at those places. He paid $28,900 for this thing. You might think $28,900, that's ridiculous. Oh yeah? He went to the Toyota dealer and they had, I'm not making this up, a 2015 Tacoma, the small pickup truck with 58,000 miles on it that they sold for $40,000. They didn't have any of these there. They had some Highlanders and they were just as outrageously expensive. So when you take that into consideration, this was kind of a steal in today's market. It's the real mileage. You can see the vehicle is completely clean. And yes, it's not the fancy one. It has hubcaps. Those aren't aluminum wheels. But that's what he wanted because he's like me. I don't want rims that bend. You hit a bump with a steel wheel, big pothole, you can bang it back out. You hit it with an alloy wheel, it'll break it. That's $400 or $500 peed down the toilet. But then again, it's a Toyota and you shouldn't have to fix anything. I've seen some of the modern Fords that they got V8 engines. You can only see the front 2 cylinders. The rest are all hidden under the cab. They are impossible to work on, and they're Fords. They break a lot. You got to work on them a lot. These, it's nice that all that space is there, but really, you probably won't get under there very often, except to change the oil and filter. We'll check the inside here. We're gonna put a scan tool on in a second, but I like it because it's got an actual key. None of this keyless crap. It has all the computer stuff like any modern car. But he did add this Garmin because he had it in his other vehicle and they figured, what the heck, he might as well plug it in a cigarette lighter and use it. And as you can see, got a decent backup camera. Not one of my favorite things, but it does have electronic parking brakes. I'm not a fan of electronic parking brakes, but what can you do? They're all going that way, you know. It's cheaper to make them that way, so that's why they're making them that way. Then they control everything with computers. Now, this particular one doesn't have a sunroof. There was another one at the dealership that has a sunroof. He didn't want to buy it because he's had sunroofs that leaked. He said, I don't want a sunroof. Why should I pay for a sunroof? I don't want a sunroof. I kind of agree. The windows roll down. They work perfectly fine. If you want to drive like a maniac, you can turn the traction control off. And since this thing's only got 18,000 miles on it, it'll probably outlast the owner because he's about my age. So, hey, take care of it. Somebody doesn't rear end him. It probably will outlast him. Now, even though I don't like these electronic parking brakes, you can see it's on. Watch this. Look what Toyota does. When you put it in reverse, it turns the parking brake off automatically. Toyota understands their customers. They might forget, leave it on, then they burn the brakes out. Very smart design. You got your electric parking brake on, you put it in reverse, it turns the parking brake off. They put thought. The Japanese that make these things, they put a lot of thought into them. So let's just build them, knock them together, see what. No, they think about everything they do. Modern car, it's got all the controls on the steering wheel too, if you don't want to be looking over there. I always liked the old Toyota with the cruise control on the side. I'm so used to it, but at least they put it on the same side, and it's pretty simple to set your cruise control. It's not complicated. And as you can see here, when you push this button, you can turn on the radar cruise. It's a 2019, but it has radar cruise. It's active cruise control, and they work quite well. My son's got one on his, and he loves it. My wife was always freaking out with the cruise control on our old Toyota Matrix because, oh, hey, we're getting too close. Oh, and I always got to watch her. If we get too close, she starts going nuts. She would actually like a system like this, and it works quite well. Well, the guy brought it over to me because he's got one of these, 7 days or whatever. He gets his money back if he doesn't like the car, if his mechanic says there's something wrong. So we're going to hook it up and see if there's anything wrong. So we turn the key on. So the idiot lights are on, but it's not running. Do an auto scan, 2019, okay. Through 46 systems, as you can see. The first one says driver's door motor. Well, I didn't know the driver's door had a motor. Let's check that out. They're actually talking about the electric motor in the window. It says master switch of driver's side door malfunction. Well, I see this all the time because what happens is some fool at some point in time will go like this. They'll hold it up too long, and then it uses electricity to the motor pulling against nothing as it's rammed up, and it'll trip a stupid code. That's usually what it is. I often see this code with people that have super long fingernails, those glue-on ones, that they get them stuck in there and then they get this code. I see that all the time, so that we don't care about. One says main body. Let's see what those failures are. It says it's lost communication to the tire pressure monitoring navigation control module, and accessory gateway. So remember that yourself. If you change the battery in a car, have the computer reset. Because if it doesn't, a lot of these store codes will be in there. It'll confuse people when they're working on your car. These are communication codes. These B and U codes will not make the check engine light come on. Very easy to do. Clear all DTCs. Now we go through. You can see. But they're all gone. There's none left. An awful lot of live data. It's communicating now. Start running through them. They're color coded as usual. Battery voltage is good. We'll just go through them all. The thing I like about this Toyota is, as you can see, it's still using port fuel injection. All the old port injection systems in the Lexus, in my Celica, and in the Matrix over there are still working fine. Oh, let's go through. Regular data. So when it does age, gee, is my water pump working? All you gotta is look at this data. And if the actual speed is 0 or like 200 and it should be 2800, you know, it's time for a new water pump. Pretty cool way to diagnose stuff. And as I was talking about changing the battery, well, look, the distance traveled from the last time the battery cable was disconnected was only 826 kilometers ago. That's obviously when they changed the battery in the car and put a new one in before they sold it. A lot of information on this thing. There's no arguing that. Check it out. It can even check the circuit of the mass air flow sensor that it's normal. Hey, my Toyota, there's no misfire counts. It's running perfectly fine. So other than those goofball codes that because they changed the battery and there was low voltage, there's nothing wrong at all. When we do that, check it out. The machine was right and so was I. It's got a diehard that they just put in last month. You change the battery in a car. If you don't have a fancy scan tool, take it to a guy like me. Takes them 5 minutes. Have them reset everything. Because you're going to have ghost codes that are going to drive you nuts. If you bring it to a mechanic, he says, look at all this crap that's wrong. It's going to cost a lot of money. It's just because they didn't reset them when they replaced the battery. There we go. We're going to back it up. There's the neighbor's mailbox. I'm not going to hit it. And away we go. Now, it's a typical Rav4. It's nice and high in the ground. It's not outrageously high, but it's got a nice bit up in the air. With the 2.5 liter engine, it's got some oomph to it. That's an eco mode, so the heck with that. Let's have some fun. There. Now it's in sport mode. As you take corners, you know, I mean, these aren't race cars. They handle well enough. There are better handling vehicles. There's no arguing that, but this isn't something you race around with. It's a Rav4 to get you where you're going, haul a lot of crap, and it's small enough size that it's easy to park. Now we'll take it for a spin out in the country here. We'll get to our little drag strip, come to our little marked line up here that somebody painted. There it is. On your mark, get set, go. It spun the wheels. Not bad at all, really. Picket fences are going by. Got some pickup. It's not as fast as this airplane, but then again, we're not flying. And then at cruising speed, we floor it. It goes down and it takes off. Doesn't break your neck, but for a small SUV, hey, wind noise is pretty minimal. This is a lot quieter than my Toyota Matrix by far. Nothing outrageous, I mean, hey. This isn't a luxury car. So let's put it in eco mode. But the light changes. Here we go. So now we'll floor it. Then we'll let go. And we'll hit it again. And the burble's gone. So that's more of it in sport mode because it wants to go zippier. In eco mode, the tranny doesn't have that little burble in it. And really, it's quick enough in eco mode too, so I'm putting it back in sport mode. Even though it's telling me I'm going too fast over the limit, it does have that new speedometer thing that tells you the speed limit is 35 miles an hour where you're driving. But at least it's silent. It doesn't say anything. It just sits there and looks at you with a visual sign. It doesn't say, you're going too fast, you're going too fast, so it's a lot easier to ignore. It's in excellent shape, but of course realize I'm a cheapskate. And what he paid for this is, are you ready? 4 times as much money that I ever paid for every single car that I ever bought for myself. And I've been driving cars for like 50 years, so I'm a cheapskate. But with the market the way it is, he doesn't go and pay 40 grand for a 2015 Tacoma with 50,000 miles on it, 17,000 miles on it when he bought it, and it's in excellent shape. You're gonna pay if you look around, but don't be forced into paying way too much. This is still an okay deal. Like I say, he's my age. This might be the last car he ever buys. Somebody doesn't smash into it or he doesn't smash into something. It very well could be. Everything up in air now and the price of everything going up, it might be a few years before car prices come down. So if you can find something as good as this for a price you can afford, it might not be a bad idea to try to find one now. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.